Hey, I'm Bear,
And I'm Michael the Wolfman Hart.
and this is
BearHart.
BearHart.
Woo! Episode 1 of BearHart.
Yeah.
How you feeling about this, Bear?
I'm nervous.
So am I.
I'm weirdly nervous.
I'm weirdly nervous as well.
I don't understand why.
Oh, I do. This is the first time we're ever doing anything like this, so...
Yeah, but we did some practice recordings, sound checks, and we talked for an hour, recorded the whole thing, and there was no nerves at all.
There really wasn't. But however, let's go ahead and give our listeners an idea of what BearHart's about.
So I think to really sum everything up and I guess generalize it as much as possible, it's about life surrounding the creation of music.
Which can include the ups and downs that you go through as a band or just as a recording artist.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the ups, the downs, the good, the happy times, the fun times, what it's like to be working with other people, or even if it's just by yourself, like getting up on stage and trying to make a name for yourself playing music.
The technical difficulties of learning all your soundboards
Oh
and
my
recording
God.
equipment, which we have.
We got a long way to go.
We really
got
do.
a long way to go.
But we're doing all right.
I think we're all right.
So, how did this come up?
How did like the podcast come up?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go into that really quick.
The podcast.
Because, I mean, it goes back into why we're doing the podcast.
Sure. I mean, obviously, it started with us trying to be in a band to begin with.
Mm.
But I mean, really, it's kind of based off of our first show, our first gig, if you will, our 30-minute set opening act.
God, I missed that.
It was a lot of fun.
It was.
It was a lot of fun. But our buddy Chad decided to scream out BearHart from the audience, even though we are Lone Stars and Guitars.
Okay, so to give you guys an idea at exactly how BearHart was created, the name BearHart anyways. Again, our buddy Chad, who puts on musical showcases from time to time. He mainly does slam poetry, and he has a bunch of other friends that come up and read off their poetry. And he knows a lot of different musical artists out there that come up, do small sets in between the times that he does his poetry.
Yeah, it's not all just slam poetry. It's, he's got musicians that come up there and play original music, play covers, play whatever it is that they're feeling.
No, and it's a good collaboration of just artists having fun for a night and showcasing themselves in a way. So Chad found out that Bear and I have been writing music for a while, had a couple little moments on a stage, and
we did some stand and fill in couple songs for my buddy Sean. And then we also did a couple open mics before we did that first show.
No, we didn't. The open mics happened after. We
Really?
are such slackers.
Wow, my memory sucks.
No, because we didn't do B&B Rovers until after. Because we were so excited about the first two shows. We decided...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was the yeah.
That second show.
Hey, you know what? It turned out to be a really good idea, as much as you hated me for signing us up for that.
It really was. Anyways, I've lost my train of thought.
So how BearHart came to be?
Exactly. So
Where did we get the name BearHart?
when Chad was talking to us and asking, specifically me, if we could do an hour set, and I was like, man, I don't think that we had an hour's worth of music. We didn't have an hour's worth of music that we could have done then.
I think we could have bled it out with some extra covers, but no, an hour would have been really difficult.
It would have been really difficult. We got it talked down to, he said, well, how about 45 minutes? We were still kind of on the fence there. And then it turned into a 30-minute set.
Which was perfect.
So we all agreed to that. I think it was like a week later. He's like, well, I need to put together a flyer.
Yeah, he wanted to know the name of our band.
And he didn't know the name of our band. I never had told him our name. The name of our band, by the way, is Lone Stars and Guitars.
Yes.
When I told him that, he goes, I don't want to put that on the flyer.
Wait, you actually said that?
He said something around the lines of like, that doesn't sound cool.
That dick. I didn't know that.
Well, it was something around those lines.
Okay.
It wasn't like a dick thing he said.
Sure,
but
it was.
that's how it felt to me.
Oh, that's your name? Yeah, I don't like that.
He's like, you should guys call yourself something like BearHart, and that's where it originated from. And then we
Right.
started talking about it because then he wanted to be like, oh, and then I can use this really cool graphic of a bear holding like a bloody heart, and that's going to represent you two for this flyer, because he wanted to use personality, like I guess images that represented the artists that were all going to be performing that night into that flyer. So he wanted to have like a bear holding a heart. That's why he was hell-bent on BearHart. And I said, no, that sounds like a metal band. We are not. We are far from a metal
Yeah, we're
band.
definitely not metal. As cool as it would be to do a metal band and name it BearHart, we decided to turn it into a podcast instead.
And yeah, to follow our journey through music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of our journey, do you want to kind of give them an idea on where we're coming from? Dude, I just had the realization today as I came over here for dinner. We're coming up on 10 years of knowing each other this year.
Really?
Later on this year, I moved out here to Austin, Texas in August of 2008.
August of 2008?
I met you not that long after.
No, it wasn't that long after. And I got here basically January 2008. That's crazy, man.
You're 10 years now.
I've been in Austin for 10 years.
I'll be a 10-year.
In August?
Yeah, August.
Man, I can't believe I've known you. Now I feel old.
Shut up.
I feel really old.
Shut up.
God, I'm old.
He's the younger one of the bunch, by the way.
All right, so I mean, let's kind of get into how we started playing music. Then I mean,
we have to go into the journey, a little bit of the journey beforehand. I want to set this up a little bit.
all right, do it.
So, Bear mainly knew my roommate Topher at the time.
Yeah,
I hung out with him.
yeah.
So I met you a few times. Bear and I worked together at the same place, worked at a video game company, hung out with each other out on the smoking patio every once in a while, and we would just talk and bullshit around.
Mm-hmm.
He knew Topher, so I mean, obviously that was just like a shoe in there. It's like, oh well, this is buddy of a buddy. Cool, let's talk. Hanging out, and every once in a while we would talk about music, and then a few other times Bear would come over to our house and he would bring over his guitar, and I didn't even know you played the guitar. Hell, I didn't even know your first name for like the first year I knew you.
There's still a lot of people I know that I've known for about that long that have no idea what my first name is.
His name's Ryan, by the way.
Yeah, we're not supposed to disclose that.
I'm disclosing it. I didn't know it for a year.
Come on, man, you got to keep the mystery. Who's Bear?
Who's Bear? Please explain why you're called Bear, really quick.
So my last name is Berezuski, and my wrestling coach in high school, he didn't want to learn how to actually pronounce my last name, so he decided he was just going to call me Bear, and it stuck. So I've been Bear since my freshman year in high school.
He introduces himself as Bear.
Yes.
He's just always been Bear. Like I said, literally for the first year that I knew him, I didn't know his first name. I had no clue. Just always knew him as Bear.
I think it's hilarious.
It is hilarious, dude.
I love it, man. I love it.
But he brought over his guitar a couple times and hung out over at our house. I mean, he was mainly playing like metal riffs, I want to say.
Yeah, I was playing. Well, I was with my roommate at the time. We were trying to write some metal music, and yeah, that was really all I was playing at that time. And I wasn't even singing yet.
No, you weren't. You were just playing, and you would play to the emotions of the moment most of the time.
Yeah.
No. We'll go into that in another show. No, but him and Bear and I'd talk about it off and on every once in a while. Probably be out on a smoke break, or a couple times that I came over to watch like UFC fights over at your house and things like that. Like, well, dude, I used to be in a band at one point in my life. That was in my high school years when I was like 16, 17 years old. I was in a punk band. And then I played a little bit of guitar. I stopped playing for a very, very long time, but I still have my electric that I've had since then. But it was like off and on playing.
Well, and mostly in the beginning, it was you telling me that you had some lyrics you had written down, and you really wanted to try and put some music to it. And so the idea was that we would get together, and I would play guitar, and you would sing your lyrics.
Yeah, we had those conversations off and on for quite a bit of time, and then
I want to say at least a couple years because I mean, really, we've only been playing music together for what, 4 years?
I want to say 4.
Yeah.
From the first night, well, no, maybe 3.5, almost 4 years now.
I'm gonna go with 4. I don't know. I don't know the actual date.
You
I
could
mean,
you probably look up that first recording of Your Eyes
yeah,
to find out the exact.
I could find that. I don't have it on my phone anymore though.
It doesn't matter. I mean, like, we're going to call it about 3.5, 4 years now.
Okay.
But we had discussed it back and forth. But life happens. I had a kid.
I had a kid.
So there was that hiccup, and
that hiccup. Kids happen, and our lives ended.
They didn't end.
Well, our lives as far as wanting to hang out with other people and write music.
Exactly. No, that ended for quite some time. There was also some other drama that happened in my life that prevented me from being able to hang out. There was also some drama that happened in your life,
Yep.
and work-wise that happened that kind
Sure.
of prevent.
Yeah, we were on different shifts for quite a while.
Mhm.
So making that time available to be able to get together and actually try and write something, just it wasn't there.
And then it came down to this point where I was in kind of a bad spot. I was living by myself in a place out in Taylor, Texas, and I just really needed to have something else in my life. And I pushed it. I think I was the one who actually pushed it. Like, no, Bear, we need to get together
Yeah.
one day. You need to bring over your guitar. I'm going to bring my notepad. We are going to write something.
So you ended up coming over to my place.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
The first time that you and I
Oh, that was over at Sean's house.
Hey, now oh.
Yeah, it's all coming back. I told you my memory sucks.
See, I had thought I was going to go over to your house.
That's right. And then, but I was going over to Sean's to play darts.
Yeah, that's totally not us playing music together.
No. Hey, contingency plans. We talked about it for a long time, and it never happened.
No,
So-
we had, but that was supposed to be the moment that I came over, and I was expecting to go over to your house that weekend and do it. And like, no, we're gonna head over to Sean's, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, okay. Bear's living in an apartment. I understand why. Maybe it's because we can get over to Sean's house, we can play a little bit louder or whatever. Didn't expect it. Drove over there, and everybody just playing darts. There's like not
think-
just Sean over. There was
No,
like
I think
3
there
or 4
was
other
3
friends.
or 4 other friends there, plus you and me, and
And we didn't even start writing or doing anything at first. It was literally, let's play some darts. Let's hang out.
no,
and, like,
we were a good like 3 or 4 beers into it before, maybe 5 or 6, before we actually even broke out the guitar.
That's when you broke out the guitar and you started playing something. And then who was I talking to? I can't remember Sean's friend.
It might have been Ricky, either that or somebody else. I don't know. It's
I was speaking to somebody else during that time. And next thing you know, Bear was playing a riff on his guitar. And I looked over and I said, stop. Just keep playing that for a moment. I've got something. And that's when our crappy song, Your Eyes, came out.
Oh, man. One of these days I'm gonna dig up that recording and we'll go back and listen to how terrible it is.
Oh my God, it's so terrible. I don't think, okay, so it's not terrible. We were super proud of that song.
I mean, I still am to a degree. Mostly it was the singing that was bad.
Oh no, the singing was terrible.
But we did get a fan that night.
Oh, the random dude like
Random
walking
dude.
by with
Yeah,
his dog.
With his dog. A little on the creepy side because we couldn't really see him and he came walking up the driveway out of nowhere.
We didn't just write this song, by the way. It seemed like everybody that was in the house, in that garage that evening,
That is true.
gave their 2 cents on exactly how, which I think that's what, BearHart is about right now, this podcast, is that on how each individual has a different opinion and how you see something happen. Because we've revisited that song since, and we have a couple
Yeah.
ideas to make it sound so much better.
Yeah, we've revisited it a couple of times.
We still haven't recorded it again.
No, we haven't. No, but we did. There was a random guy walking by, and he was, I don't want to say praising us, but I mean, he was impressed with what we were doing. And I think that was, at least for me, uh, I mean, maybe the same for you, but that was the moment where I went, oh shit, we might be onto something here.
This could be something.
Yeah.
And just to take away from that for a second, like, all right, so I personally was like, all right, cool. This guy liked what we did. We're good. However, it didn't like set in stone until that second time we got over at your other garage, at your place.
Yeah, we were in the garage at my apartment.
And then that random girl came walking up.
Yeah, and we were working on, I think, on a different song.
Oh, this was
And-
like months later when we started actually getting together weekend after weekend, almost. If that,
That's right.
it was like once a month at first,
Yeah.
and then a couple of times maybe we got together, maybe 2 or 3 times a month, and then it would turn into a once a month thing.
Right.
And then it was just over from there. It was like, I'm gonna come over to your house. It got easier once I moved closer.
Yes. Yeah, I got a lot easier because I wasn't able to drive out to Taylor.
I wouldn't expect anybody. That's a 40-minute drive. I'm not gonna like. That was the troublesome thing for me.
Yeah.
Is being out that far away from everybody. I couldn't hang out. I couldn't do anything. And that is a weird face, Bear. he hit his like little microphone thing.
Yeah. I hit the spit guard.
And he made a funny face. I'm
did.
sorry. Beer too.
Beer too. Yeah, and I mean that was, I kind of had the same feeling that night also, and even though that one was also very weird.
We're bringing out the creepy people.
I guess.
You want to
man.
know what our music brings out the creeps?
Is that a good thing?
I don't know.
I don't think that's a good thing.
They seem appeased with it, and you want to know what? Even over
I mean,
here,
they like it,
your
yeah.
upstairs neighbor, what's her face?
SJ.
SJ, that's right. She's heard us play
Yeah,
like
no,
a couple times, and she
digs
compliments it.
Yeah, she digs it. I mean, shit, she came down and sang with us one night.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her and I were like harmonizing on one of our tracks or something
Yeah.
like that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. No, I mean, people seem to genuinely appreciate what we put out. I think we are definitely harder on ourselves than other people are, but
I would agree with that.
I think that's kind of a natural thing with any artist, whether it's music or it's paint to canvas or drawing or anything. Anybody's going to be exponentially harder on themselves because they have a certain level of expectation of what they can or should be able to do. I think that's the better word. It should be able to do, and they don't always meet up to that. I know that's the case for me.
No, I can completely agree with that point. I mean, that's my expectations of where I should be are a lot higher than where I am.
Right, and for me, I feel like you are leaps and bounds better than you were, say, 4 years ago.
Maybe even a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're doing great.
You're making me like I'm getting awful clumped
Oh,
over
I see that single tear coming down.
Let me just clean that off really quick. But this is where Bear and I basically started off. I mean, we started off not intending to write music that night in Sean's garage.
No, not at all.
Creating one song with the help of everybody in the garage.
Everybody had their influences they were pulling from.
And then from there, we've just been kind of getting together weekend after weekend, a couple times a month sometimes, and just playing. I mean, we started, like, after that first song, we just kept going. I mean, we
Yeah.
wrote so many songs. What is it? Day by Day came out not that long after.
Yeah, because that was one that I had been working on for a while, and I was stuck, and I brought it over to you, and we just kind of rolled with it, and I think that turned into a great song.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you've had lots of bits and pieces of music that you've worked on over the years, I think. And you've even had some that were lyrically, and that's how, I mean, Soulless came out.
Soulless, man. That's my
That's
pride
his
and joy, man.
Oh, jeez. That's his baby.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny the way that one worked because it started off way more bluesy than it is, Yeah, I mean,
You even tried having me just sing it by myself with like a bluesy feel one time, and I was like, this is not.
yeah,
Then we threw it to the side and just worked on a few other things, and then you were just playing that one riff one day,
yeah.
something that you kind of played every once in a while, and I was like, hold on, hold on, let's do this.
And that's our. I mean, the couple of shows that we played now. That's our closer every time.
It's a good song.
Every time we get on stage, that's our closer.
I'm thinking that we're working on a couple others right now. I finished that one, so we'll see.
There's some good stuff coming down the line, man. I'm excited to not only to continue creating music with you, but to kind of document our journey through the podcast. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to be able to talk about, hey, we get together every Wednesday night and try and write music or try and practice the songs that we have. I think it's going to be fun to talk about that and the ups and downs and old married couple arguments that we have on those Wednesday nights.
They're discussions, sir. They're not
Oh,
arguments.
I'm sorry. Discussions.
They're heated discussions.
Discussions. Yes, heated discussions. That's a good way to put it.
And that's another thing is that's definitely something that we're going to cover in this podcast is how it is a marriage between you and other individuals in your band.
Yeah, it has to be.
It
I mean,
really has to be.
there has to be. There has to be compromises that are made, and I mean, you and I make a lot of compromises.
We make. God, there's a lot of compromises. I don't even want to say that there's compromises. Sometimes it's just like, fine, we're going to do it that way. I don't even care anymore. And then it just happens to work out.
And it sounds good. And it ends up sounding good.
To you.
Yeah, because it's my way.
Or the highway.
But that's part of being in a band, right? It's you have to be able to hear somebody out and know if that is a better way than the way that you were thinking, and vice versa, right? I have to be able to listen to your ideas, and even if I don't necessarily like the sound of it, try it and go, oh wait, yeah, this is better.
And that takes a lot of convincing to get him to even get to that point, people. I can't even. He is a stubborn bastard.
Yeah,
I love it though. I love making music with you.
It's great.
No, it's not just great. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm gonna crack open my second one here in a minute.
So, on top of covering our journey as musicians, as bandmates, as friends, as brothers, we also want to be able to bring in at some point other musicians and talk to them about their struggles and their ups and downs and their journey through being a musician and through playing music. And I think even at some point we could probably talk to people that aren't necessarily musicians, but that music has a major impact on their life.
Well, there's going to be a difference between performing artists and recording artists.
Right. And
so, I mean, let's go ahead and we have a friend of ours who loves to do little videos of himself playing the guitar, and then he loops that back over and he plays the guitar again, and he may publish some of those videos every once in a while.
Who?
Scott.
Busby?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, have you sat down and just like watched him in front of his computer pull out all the music that he's written, all the riffs and everything else?
Oh, dude, I mean, the dude records everything that he writes.
Exactly, and that's my point, is that he does that all the time, but he's not necessarily in a band that's getting up on stage and performing every night.
Sure. No,
So-
he loves playing music.
So exactly, and that's somebody else that we're gonna eventually have. That's gonna be a lovely show. Love you, Busby.
Yeah, we'll definitely have him on. And that's the roommate I was talking about earlier that I was originally playing metal with. He, to this day, will still give me shit that I don't play metal anymore, and that I don't go over to his place and write metal music. And it's not that I don't want to, because I do, but I've fallen so far away from it, and finding the time, and that's the other thing too, finding the time to practice.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys a little idea about Bear over the past 10 years that I've known him. So when I met him, I'm pretty much skateboarding.
Yeah. Dirt bikes.
Skateboarding and dirt bikes. That's right. You and Busby used to go out. Where was that at?
It was a buddy of ours. He had a track out in Thorndale.
Okay, so out in Thorndale, you guys were always out there. You had your dirt bike. When did you finally sell that? That was like a couple years back.
Yeah, it was right before my daughter was born.
Okay. So to give you guys a really good idea now, Skater Boy does motocross,
Yep.
plays metal music,
Yep.
now wears cowboy boots
Every day.
every day, listens to so much country music.
It's true.
He has a cowboy hat somewhere in here that I look better in.
Yeah, at least one.
At least one. If that doesn't tell you, I mean, come on, like, just picture that for a moment. Like, your journey over the past 10 years has taken you from this like little skater metal punk kind of guy,
Yeah, straight out of California.
straight out of California, to Texas's life.
I'm all about that Texan life, man. It's I feel at home. I feel at peace with who I am. Finally,
That's good.
yeah.
Did you not feel comfortable?
It's part of the reason why I left California. I mean,
Well, did you not feel comfortable playing metal and things like that?
Oh no, I felt totally comfortable playing metal. I was working on getting better at
Mhm.
it. It was more other life issues that came up or situations that I kind of stopped playing music altogether for a while. And when I came back into it, actually when I met my fiance, I had just recently like really got into country music. And so I picked up an acoustic guitar and that's what I started playing. I mean, that's what I was listening to at the time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what just kind of felt more natural at the time. And then it never went away.
And see, for me, I listened to a little bit of country here and there. And that was kind of the appeal of like wanting to start write music with you. It's not necessarily that I wanted to start writing country music. It was just something that we had in common.
Sure.
Because I liked a little bit. You seem to have liked a lot more than I did at that time. I mean, I've gotten into it about 100-fold since then. Just because of the music that we attempt to write together.
Yeah.
And then now we've kind of thrown out that whole we're going to be country artists kind of feel. And
Our music definitely. I mean, it has country influence, but it's not.
we're calling ourselves Lone Stars and Guitars. Come on now.
Man. I mean,
we're Texas.
It's got country influence, but it's not necessarily country. I mean, we don't try and sing with. I mean, maybe when we're drunk and fucking around, but we don't try and sing with crazy fake accents.
What you talking about, Bear? This ain't no fake accent up in here.
But I don't know. It definitely started off as, hey, we want to be a country band, and it's become something entirely different. There's rock influences, there's country influences, there's punk influences, there's alternative, there's shit. I mean, even some of it's probably a little poppy if you really think about it.
No, there's a lot of like pop influences in our songs because we do come up with some catchy phrases every once in a while.
Yeah, and I mean the majority of it is your your standard 4/4 time signature, and it has that poppy alternative feel to it. But we have, I think, the meat of it is not necessarily pop or alternative.
No. I mean, some of it's folk. Like folk music as far as anything goes.
Yeah, I mean, I could see some folk influence in there.
Especially after you've given me a set of harmonicas now.
I'm excited about harmonicas.
I don't even
man.
know where that's going to turn this music.
but and that goes back to me talking about how far you've
If you end up buying me a washboard, I'm going to hit you.
All right, well, don't open that other present. That I
Oh
got you.
my God. Trying to get me away from playing the guitar with you. We're going to be Lone Stars and washboards.
Well, shit, we're not Lone Stars and Guitars yet.
Yeah.
You haven't even played a guitar on stage with me.
Not yet.
So that's one thing that we're working towards, and that's going to be something that we cover throughout this podcast. I mean, getting you to the point of being able to be comfortable actually getting on stage with me and playing guitar while we're singing.
Exactly. I mean, this entire podcast is also going to, we're doing it every 2 weeks on Sundays. So at the beginning of each show, I imagine we're going to go ahead and give you guys an update of what we've been working on for the past 2 weeks since the last cast. And I really hope that we've got some good news for you guys and that we're not just slackers.
And I want to be able to play some stuff too for our listeners and give people an idea of what it is that
Not
we're
just
about.
play it live on the podcast itself, but give you guys opportunities. Like if we know we're going to be heading to an open mic on a particular Sunday night, we're going to leave information and let you guys know, hey, come on out. If you're here in town, come on out. Check us out.
Yeah,
Throw
definitely.
stuff at us if you think we suck. I don't know.
I don't care, good, bad, ugly, whatever. Just
Feedback is feedback.
Feedback is feedback, and a lot of times people have a tendency to hold back, especially friends and family, right? You ask
You
a
guys
friend,
are so
"Oh,
good.
it was awesome.
Oh my god, I loved it. I'm gonna go
Great."
now.
Yeah, exactly. Or you find out from your mom's friend's brother's uncle that your mom's friend's brother was like, those guys fucking suck. Why did we even go to that show? Whereas, like, just say it to my face.
So
Just tell me up front. I mean,
you know when
don't
it's honest
sugarcoat shit.
feedback when you feel crappy about it in some ways.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
pardon.
It absolutely is. Well, because it's real. If you think it sucked, tell me it sucked.
Well, no.
But tell me why.
Not even necessarily like good feedback, but I still felt crappy about it.
All right. I mean, that's a little more hard to come by.
That goes back to our first show. When we were done, we get off stage. One of Bear's buddies comes up to me and goes, "Man, I really loved what you guys did. You're like this comic relief through the whole thing. It was awesome." And I go, and I stopped and I was like, I still appreciate the compliment.
I forgot about that.
Still appreciated the compliment. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. Like, thank you for having a good time with us. I am not the fucking comic relief.
I mean, maybe a little bit.
Shut up, Bear. I hate your ass.
Yeah. When it comes to being on stage, though, you're a little more silly than I am. I tend to be a little more serious, and I think a lot of that is nerves.
Yeah.
But I do tend to stiffen up a little bit. It's not my normal personality coming through.
Yeah.
So you are the comic relief. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with being the comic relief?
It just felt bad at that moment. I'm not trying to take away from the feedback that individual gave me. I'm not. You know who you are, if you're listening.
James.
Damn you, James. No, I'm kidding. No, but I appreciated the feedback because he did say he enjoyed the music and everything else like that. But it was the way he painted me at that moment.
Right.
And I was fresh off the stage
Yeah.
at our first showcase.
As Lone Stars and Guitars with one guitar.
Fuck off! I hate you. Okay, comic relief. Where my knee was blown out and I had to sit.
Yes, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
There was no, and I understand that. Like, there's part of me that understands that. Like, there's a big part, but there's a part of me that goes, I put in a lot of hard work. I had to put up with Bear and wrote this shit. Come on now. It's like
That is true.
It's not just that he wrote this and I'm just doing this on the side. No, I participated too.
That's fair. I mean, I can see that. And I've definitely gotten that feedback before too, where it's not the comic relief. I've never the comic relief, but I've gotten that feedback like, "Hey man, that was pretty good." And that's really it. And it's like, "Oh, okay." And it's a compliment,
Well, see, okay,
right? But it doesn't feel good.
Again, this is where you can tell true feedback from crappy feedback, in my opinion. Exactly how this works. That was really good. I liked you guys. That is just someone being polite. That's honestly all that is.
But do you think that's somebody being polite and not liking your music, or somebody just not knowing how to express their feelings?
Okay,
it?
so I mean that can work either way. I will admit that. However, 9 times out of 10, if that's how they say it to you, hey man, dug it. You guys were really good tonight. Like your music. I'm gonna go get a beer at the bar. Bye.
Maybe they're not good people.
That could be also. Well, look at who we hang out with.
That's true.
We're also nerds in a lot of ways. Because again, We work for a video game company.
I'm pretty sure we could do a whole other podcast on your addiction to Star Wars.
Shut up. I hate you. So there's like some antisocial behaviors with like a lot of our friends when we invite them out.
There can be, yeah.
There can be, but the ones that do come out and everything else. But going back to my point, someone who gives feedback, oh my God, I loved your set. You did this song. I love the way you did this on the song. When they go in and describe what you did that they liked, that's how you know it's true feedback. And when you're talking to somebody that's just being polite, it's like, oh, I liked your band.
Yes and no. I mean, I think the difference there is that the people that go into detail, the people that actually have constructive criticisms or even just positive notes about individual songs, those are the people that music impact more.
Those are also people that write music, because that was feedback that we got from Sean later on after that
Right.
show. He literally came up. He's like, you guys did really well. I like this about it. However,
Right.
and when he put out that however,
Well, yeah. That's Sean, though.
but I mean, at the same time, I appreciated that. He was honest with us.
Yes. And I will take negative feedback as long as it's honest.
Yeah.
Over, oh, you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great to hear that you liked what we did, but especially because we're just starting out, especially because we've only been on stage a handful of times.
Yeah.
You know, we're still really finding our sound. We're still really figuring out
So we're slackers.
We're slackers.
I'm not gonna lie. That show happened a year ago.
Was it a year ago?
It was a year ago. Just about a year ago.
Oh, it was January last year.
January last year is when we had that show.
Wow.
Then it was 3 or 4 days later that we had the second show at the same place.
Yeah, it was the next week.
No, it was the same week, just a few days later. Because that's,
Was it a Thursday?
yeah, it was a Thursday. And we went out there on a Sunday.
Okay.
So it was just a few days later. Then, I think we went back home. We probably played it. We were like, oh my God, we got to get back up on stage and everything else like that. And then we went out that one night. We drove around to try to find open mics. Remember we went to that one place and
Oh, we thought it was going to be like a musical open. It ended up being a poetry.
no, it wasn't a poetry. It was a comedy.
Oh,
open
yeah, stand-up comics.
So we went
at a fucking punk bar.
Yeah, exactly. It was weird.
It was so weird.
Saw some people leave with some musical equipment, so we thought we were in the right spot. But when we go up to the stage where it was at, I was like, dude, this is not a musical. This is like a comedy open mic. So grab a waitress. We asked them what the open mic was, and like, oh, it's this. And it's like, why don't you guys put that down on your website that we were looking this up on?
I mean, yeah.
And that's when we drove, and we're like, do you want to check out the other? Because we wanted to go to another open mic. That's the one we should have went to first to check out.
We went to the Stomping Grounds North that night, and we ended up not even being an open mic. It was just one dude up there singing.
Yeah, exactly. But that was later on. That was later on. Dude, your memory sucks.
I told you. Well,
So-
I mean, fill in the blanks here.
So, okay, we went to the punk bar that night because I was like, okay, well, let's go to this first open mic. Let's check this one out because we were just scouting them to see which
Yeah.
ones we wanted to play at. We were at that bar. I actually really dug that bar, so I wanted to stay there and drink a little bit longer. So it got to this point where it's coming up around 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday night. And earlier in that night, we looked up a couple other open mics. We didn't go to the one. We went to the punk bar one to check that out. Coming around 10 o'clock, I was like, well, do you want to see if we can still catch that other open mic? And that's when we went over to B&B Rovers. We left from there, went over to B&B, and...
I think it's BB Rovers.
Is it BB Rovers?
BB Rovers, yeah.
It's,
We missed the open mic there.
we missed the open mic, but we walked into the bar and we're like, I kind of dig this place.
That's right, because we ended up talking to the bartender,
Joe.
Joe. Yeah,
Good
yeah,
old
yeah.
Joe.
Yeah, that place is awesome. We played darts. In the
Yeah,
back
we
there,
played darts in the back until
Yeah.
closing time, and then we went home, and then it was the following Sunday. You and I...
that we played.
It was either the following Sunday or 2 weeks later.
No, I think it was 2 weeks later because you ran into him at Woodrow's, and he asked if we were actually going to come out and play.
Yeah.
And
He
so,
still asks when I see him up
That's
there.
funny, man.
He still and he enjoyed us. He
Yeah.
liked our music.
Well, I think it was a good change of pace for that place.
And then there was that.
They have their regulars.
What was
it
that
seems
old
like.
guy that was like that
Oh
92-year-old?
man, I don't remember his name.
Oh man, but this guy was amazing. Like just
Yes.
opening up. They just let him have at it. He could play as many songs as he wanted. But he's what did he call our music later on that night? He's like, "You guys have a unique comedy style." Going back to
Comic relief.
Comic relief. Well, because we didn't necessarily like that night. We didn't have any kind of banter. We only had 3 songs, but one of our songs is kind of a silly song.
Which one do we played? Memory Loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and I could see that.
He thought it was funny music. That's what he called it. It
Hey,
was something around those lines.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Everybody else seemed to. That's when we met Kapali.
Oh yeah.
Hmm?
Dude, that dude was fucking good.
He's still good. I still follow him on Facebook all the time. And
Yeah.
he's making something happen for himself. But that dude is gave me the vapors.
Well, let's move on from that subject.
Because we have enough sexual innuendos in some of our songs.
All right, so I mean, I guess to wrap things up, what are your thoughts for what this podcast can be? What do you want it to be?
So it's not what I want it to be. What I know it's going to be.
All right.
There's a difference there, Bear.
All
There's
right,
a
what
difference.
do you know it's gonna be?
It's going to be following our journey through the next year.
Mm,
I would want to be able to give you guys some great updates about our music, show you some of our music, but at the same time, I want to be able to bring other people up here, share their journeys with us, give our listeners topics that we're going to discuss on a normal basis. Which will turn into arguments between Bear and I, because we're an old married couple when we discuss things.
It's true.
It really is. But that's pretty much where I see this podcast going.
I agree.
I see it being something that's following you and I specifically in a lot of ways. However, lots of discussion about music in general, the ups and downs of it.
And I kind of see it being more than, I mean, we'll find out, right? It depends on what direction we go on any given Sunday.
Exactly.
But I see it being more. I do see the overarching theme of it being specifically our journey through writing music and trying to put it out there for people to hear.
And not just that, I want to have general discussions about music, difference in music,
And I see
how it's made and how you put yourself out there, and the anxieties that people have, and even diving into the psychology of a musician and getting into it for the first time. I want this to be also something that...
Am I gonna have to go back to college to be able to do this podcast?
Not really.
Okay.
I'll look up some...
All right, you do the research. And
I'll give you the big words. Don't worry about it, and I'll define them for you. I did some colleges.
Can we have a whiteboard that we put up with big words on them to use? Like, you have to hit these keywords.
I'll pronounce it. I'll write it down how you should pronounce it.
So it's wrong.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, but I want to go into those kind of topics specifically to give people an idea.
I think that would be fun. I see it being overarching our journey, but more so.
I want it to be helpful to other people.
I think, yeah.
I mean, if you hear these two guys arguing like a married couple for an hour over one topic, then you know it's okay and that you're doing it right when you're arguing with your friend over how a song should be written. So
I think that's fair.
I mean, I can't wait to see the comments on this first episode. Be like, we don't argue at all. I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about. We have a good... I was like, well, there goes that topic.
Right. Well, I do want to know what people think, though, and if you feel so inclined, go ahead and leave a comment and let us know, as close to relating to music as possible, what topics you think we should cover.
I think that's fair.
I think it'd be interesting to see what people come up with.
Like Bear and I do have a few ideas about some future shows that we want to do. Those will get announced when they come out.
Yes.
But we have an idea of more than a few topics that we want to cover. If there's anything that you guys want to specifically cover, or give us shit about, or give us compliments about, definitely hit us up.
I agree with that. Once again, my name's Bear,
And I'm Michael the Wolfman Hart.
and this is
BearHart.
BearHart. All right. BearHartcast@gmail.com. Right? I got it.
Do you?
No. Hey, this is Bear. If you're still listening, we're fucking dumb. We forgot to do all our shameless plugs at the end of our podcast. So, you can find us on YouTube at BearHartcast. Like, comment, subscribe, all the normal shit. You can also follow us on Facebook. Do the same thing. Or, if you feel the need, to email us. Email us at bearheartcast@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening.